Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. So I've got this nice little ring light, courtesy of the San Angelo Revolution Film Festival. I will be discussing pro wrestling right now, NXT house show. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to the San Angelo Film Festival. They accepted my documentary, Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary, a year ago, and my screenplay also won Best Screenplay in 2023. So let's talk NXT house show. So I enjoy these NXT house shows, and oddly enough, I just went to Wendy's. I'm making sure I don't have ketchup or barbecue goo on my face. I go to these NXT house shows. I do not sit around and watch NXT. I really don't watch any of the weekly shows these days. I watch the premium live events. I'm talking AEW Dynamite. I don't regularly watch. I don't watch Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. Sometimes I watch SmackDown. But I'm a cord cutter. I cut the cable cord, so it does limit me in some ways. But I do find a way to watch these premium live events. But this is not a premium live event. This is a good old-fashioned house show. And in case you're unaware, I know there's a lot of people in Florida who probably don't even know about these things or don't even go. And maybe that's for the best. That way I can get a ticket. But these NXT house shows, first off, they're fun. Second off, they're cheap. And third off, they're very small venues. So what it is that the WWE, I think this was probably a Triple H initiative. They're trying to give these wrestlers a sense of what it was like back in the old days, before sports entertainment. They're trying to give these wrestlers a taste of like the 1970s or the 1980s. They're trying to give them a feeling of what it was like to be a wrestler in bygone eras where not everything was televised, where not everything was streamed, where sometimes you just wrestled for these smaller crowds and so forth. So, and they have these shows in these kind of Floridian cities that are not too far from Full Sail University, which is in Orlando. But the high-tech soundstage that you're used to seeing at the NXT shows, or even their NXT TakeOver shows, where they're typically in an arena, that's the same arena for the main fucking roster pay-per-view the next night or whatever the fuck, however they do it now. These are like National Guard armories. These are like the thing tonight was the Lakeland National Guard Armory. Of course, it's Veterans Day weekend. Happy shout out to all the veterans. But in this regard, this is a small place, so maybe 400, maybe 500. This place actually was pretty packed to capacity. I mean, they have rows of like 20 chairs, and you can see maybe in the very middle there's a seat or two missing, empty, without a person in it. But then you have like a whole row of people standing against the wall. Luckily for me, my buddy, the Pitbull number 3, Chris Sanino, his I don't know what to say, but Marsha Maraschino, it's a female woman wrestling manager. I think they're trying to negotiate a contract. They came out for this thing. They saved me a seat, which was very nice of them. And I sat there and I watched the show. You might be thinking, well, God damn it, Mike, give me some results. Well, the funny fucking thing is, because I don't watch the weekly NXT show, I kind of have like my own little interpretation of this NXT experience. I don't really follow the goddamn storylines from week to week. So when I come to these NXT shows, I'm kind of piecemealing the little that I'm picking up on Twitter fuck and Facebook fuck and all the other fucks. And I know that in the first match was like, I would say maybe a lightly toned African-American lady, very pretty, probably 23, 24 years old, wears a yellow outfit, and she wrestled another woman. And I really don't know the fucking names, okay? But the lady in yellow won. So that was a good match. She did a split-legged moonsault, if that helps you figure out who it was. God. The second match, trying to fucking remember. I remember, gee whiz. They had, obviously, a person who I'm a fan of and have had the chance to meet on occasion. As you know him, Lexus King, the former Brian Pillman Jr., was there, and they're really doing good things with him. Now, I will give the E credit, which I don't like to do, but the E has been using Pillman Jr. as Lexus King very well, and he's done his part. Now, look, I don't want to name names, but I do know another wrestler who about 6 years ago was an indie guy, very, big name on the indie circuit, got hired by WWE. They hot-shotted him to the main roster, and he came in by his own admittance out of shape. Like I don't know why, but they didn't put him through the NXT thing. This is not Pillman Jr., this is another guy. And when he got to the fucking WWE, he looked really bad, like for a wrestler. I mean, for a regular person, he looked fine or looked good. But for a wrestler, it was like, what the fuck? So someone's calling me. Of course, when I try to do these goddamn things, that's when everybody picks up the phone and calls me, okay? So basically, he quickly found himself being buried, quickly found himself not on Vince's good terms, Junior McMahon or whoever's making the decisions, and he's no longer with the company. Now with Pillman Jr., maybe he learned the lesson from this other wrestler. Sorry, I can't, someone's calling me. So basically, Pillman Jr. has done the opposite. As Lexus King, he's come in. I don't know how much he's contributed to this Lexus King name. I mean, if that was his idea, their idea, but in any event, he's no longer using the Brian Pillman name. He's using the Lexus King name, but oddly enough, he's kind of, in a way, looks more like his father than ever before, mainly because he's in the best shape of his career. It looks like he's, lost some of that. It's very hard to do that. Some of that body fat, and replaced it with muscle, which is always good for a wrestler. And it doesn't look, it looks like he's doing it the natural way, not the Brock Lesnar way, if you understand my drifting. And he looks really good. And he's kind of doing the heel thing. He's wearing the long boys, as CM Punk calls them, the long tights. And he's doing old-fashioned heel work at these shows. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure, because I haven't watched a whole lot of these interviews. I saw one little clip of him, and I saw his introduction promo, which was pretty good with the TV remote. But then he did something backstage with a woman wrestler. I'm not so sure if that was really working for me. But I'm telling you, at these house shows, Lexus King is the #1 heel in the company of NXT. He's the one getting real heat. He's the one that people are actually booing, and they mean it. He's working with the crowd. He's fucking with the crowd. And I think there's a whole generation of wrestling fans, which I'm not part of, I'm older, that they don't understand Brian Pillman Jr. They have a vague notion. I think they're even too young to have bothered to have bought the DVD, from the 2005 era. So, which was a great DVD set, by the way. So I think a lot of these people who are just, and it's not an insult, but just to say they're ignorant, meaning they don't know of Brian Pillman Sr. very much. They have a vague notion, but I think Pillman Jr. now, Lexus King, is getting some real heat from these innocent marks, okay? Whereas a lot of the other babyface or heel wrestlers, in my opinion, on NXT, they're all kind of over. They're all kind of cheered because the fans in these small towns are just so grateful to see these wrestlers. And I'm not making disparagement on these small towns like Lakeland or whatever the fuck, but all these smaller towns kind of live in the shadows of your Orlandos, your Miamis, your whatever the fucks. So when they have like something kind of interesting come to town, like, hey, the NXT wrestlers are here, these fans are very appreciative. They do make a lot of noise. I will say that tonight in Lakeland, the audience was a tinge smelly from where I was sitting. There was some hints of a Mary J-Wana and body odor, okay, Lakeland. But they were a nice crowd beyond those personal hygiene issues. So I had a good time. So Pillman Jr., or goddammit, Lexus King, to me, the main event of the whole show, but basically the match that went on before the break, they do an intermission at these shows. He wrestled Carmelo, get the names all fucked up, Carmelo Hayes, and I believe Carmelo Hayes is a former NXT champion just recently. So they had a nice match, and I kind of had a feeling like, I don't know if Pillman or fucking Lexus King has been undefeated so far in NXT, but I had a feeling I think they're going to have him lose this match. And I'll tell you why. Because I think part of the NXT process, and I'm sure it is that they want to just kind of train these wrestlers for anything. A few weeks ago, I went to an NXT house show, and they had a women's trick-or-treat costume battle royal. I didn't know if it was like one of the best things I've ever seen in wrestling or one of the worst things. It was both. It kind of fucked me up, to be honest with you, because I'm like, what the fuck is this? The women's fucking costume battle royal. But for this, Pillman's doing like real matches, like old school heel work, Larry Zbyszko type of shit, and I thought it was very good. I thought this match was very good, and I had what I was getting at. I had a feeling that he was going to lose this match, and he did. And I want to say it was just a good old-fashioned flying body press, so I do know that one. Then at some point in this affair, they did this women's wrestling gimmick thing. The champion, I guess the Irish lady, I think the real star of that whole goddamn NXT women's division is Roxanne Perez. A very nice smile, you know, really cute and a good wrestler. But this other one, who's kind of like her, but I guess she's Irish, she's the champion now. I guess she just got a big push because she got the title over Becky Lynch. She comes out. She's going to wrestle the Uma Thurman ripoff, blonde chick with the fucking sword. I don't know why swords illegal in the ring. I mean, what's his dick? Fucking Drew McIntyre had a sword a few years ago. They shouldn't have. Whatever happened to Drew McIntyre's sword anyway? Did the Baron Corbin like step on it or something? But this chick comes in the ring. She's got a really nice buttock or two. She's got the. Do you mind? Do you mind? She's got the sword, and she comes out, and then she's going to wrestle the Irish chick, and then boom, boom, boom. I guess her name is Tiger Lee. I don't know if that's a reference to Tiger Chung Lee, but this Asian woman comes out, hits her from behind, hits the blonde chick. Then our champion there says, I want to wrestle you, Tiger Lee. So then they book this immediate match for later on. So I'll kind of skip ahead a few matches, but Tiger Lee goes in there to challenge the champion, and they're having a fairly decent match, but it kind of felt like they kind of lost the crowd somewhere. I don't know if it was just because it was after intermission or the crowd was just getting tired. This was the second to last match at this point. But basically, the crowd was kind of dying on the vine, and then they did the whole thing where the blonde chick comes back out. She's all mad at Tiger Lee, and then they kind of like went into slow motion because the idea was now the champion's going to grab Tiger Lee. She could have just done an old-fashioned schoolgirl, although that's a cheapo finish. But instead, like, she did a move, and then she dragged her and did her fucking finisher, and it took fucking forever. And so the champion retained. I don't know if these NXT house shows actually do title changes on these house shows. I don't think they do, but maybe they should just to mix things up. Then what happened next, Mike? I know I'm skipping a few matches. I'm trying to recall. There was a tag team match that was pretty interesting because it just became a whole big double count-out brawl. Then, oh God, how could I forget? The first half, they had, is it Gable Stevenson? Am I saying that right? Chuck Gable Stevenson or whatever the fuck. He was there. Okay, I know that he had some NXT fucking pay-per-view or premium line event show match against Baron Corbin, and it sucked a dick, and the fans were booing him. And I thought there had been some thought of him being fired or let go. And I guess there's been some controversy with this guy. I won't get into it because I do recognize that I don't know the whole story. But basically, this guy is fucking big. And when I say he's big, yes, all the wrestlers are big, you know, to a certain extent. But this guy, he's not the tallest. I mean, I would say 6'2", maybe 6'3". I don't know if he's 6'4". I mean, I would say he feels more like he's a solid 6'2". But what he's like wide. It's like he's got like a football player physique, but muscular. Okay, so I was pretty impressed with him. And if this guy can really, like, he was pretty good tonight. I mean, he kind of did his good thing. He had a good match. It was a 6-man tag against some bad guys. It was William Regal's son, this other asshole, that other asshole. And it was a decent match. Like I said, it was a 6-man tag, so he was good. But, you know, was it the fucking match of the century? No. But anyway.
Turn left onto Sterling Commerce Drive.
Fucking damn
Then
it.
turn left onto North County Line Road.
Do you mind if I just do what I want to do here? Jesus. So yeah, it was a good 6-man tag at the NXT show. And overall, you know, the good guys won. It was an asterisk or a stereo or whatever, some masked fuck. William Regal, Billy Bob Briggs, or whatever the fuck. Some guy came out to Separate Ways, the song, and the fans sang along. So overall, it was a good show. The main event, and this is, I think, of the last several NXT shows I've been to, often they end the night with this Chase University. And it occurred to me, you know, I've seen some of this Chase University stuff. I don't know if they were once heels and are now baby faces, but the guy who's leading, like the professor guy, whatever the fuck, very interesting. Like, I've watched this guy several times. He wrestles with this sweater. And I'm looking at this guy, like, first of all, he's wrestling with a goddamn sweater. Must be hot as fuck in that thing. And he's not really, like, in great shape. Like, he's not... But he does all the moves. Like, he can body slam everybody. He can put people... So he might have, like, that natural strength. He just doesn't have a particularly good physique. But he kind of reminds me of like a Mike Rotundo, you know, IRS or somebody, because the guy seems like he really knows how to wrestle, and he has a very unique style. It's kind of a mix of like, you know, catch as catch can, arm drags, twists, all the basic shit with kind of a modern edge to it. And then he kind of does like he does a nice fire is what they call it in the wrestling business. Like when he's getting pummeled and then he comes back. And he's teaming up with like this generic goofball muscle guy, who's pretty much that. But when this guy's in the ring, whatever his fucking name is, the Chase U guy, I don't know if is it Chuck Chase or Chad Chase or Chase Fuck or whatever the fuck. When he's in there, I'm like, this guy's very unique. Like, you know, I mean, I guess I'm not the biggest fan of what's his name, Sabre Jr., Zack Sabre Jr. But if you think about guys like William Regal, there was even not Alex Wright, but actually Alex Wright's father had a very unique style. Steve Wright, I think was his name. There's Billy Robinson. I mean, this guy, I'm not saying he's fucking the reincarnation of Billy Robinson. I'm just saying this guy, it's kind of like, I can see why probably, and this is wrestling fuck fans, when you get into WWE mode, you always want to put, you know, everything that's good in WWE is because of Triple H, and everything that's dog shit is because of Vince. It's not that simple, folks. I know that, but maybe it kind of feels like if you're, you know, Triple H might like this guy more than Vince, okay? So I'm falling into the trap. Because this guy's very unique, not a body guy. And I'm watching it, I'm like, I've known this guy is good, but I didn't realize like how good and how unique he is, and he's doing a character. Like, he's not just, an awesome, like, here's Dean. When Dean Malenko was an awesome wrestler, he was Dean Malenko, the awesome wrestler. He didn't have some cool gimmick. He wasn't the Repo Man Dean Malenko, okay? So when I see this fuck, and he's got the college sweater, and he's got the fucking whatever the fuck, and he's got a goon, and they're baby faces, and he's doing the, you know, Chase U shit. I'm like, this guy's fucking pretty goddamn good. And so there you have it. My buddy there, Michael A.J. Morris, has been on me for a week or so to comment. Sorry to put this at the end of the fucking video, buddy, but I guess I'll fucking comment. I'll do another video right now about that, okay? So let's just call this NXT, whatever the fuck, NXT Lakeland. I will be going to another show tomorrow. If you look on the short section, I'll try to put some of the still photos up for videos for you, blah, blah, blah. That's it. One pro wrestling sports fan, Mike Messier.